Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Welcome back, everyone. Joined in studio by Cameron Black from Gone Kitchen Guide Service. Okay, pull the hook off of that thing. Now, you've got a pink worm on here, but you could do all kinds of things. You could have a bead, you could have a spawn sack, you could have a lot of different baits, a yarny. Would you ever run I'm not a truck and trailer guy, but could you do that too? Where you run two baits?
You can run, well, when we went fishing, I was running a double rig, but honestly, like, you're getting one down there so close, and I wouldn't try to like stretch. This is already a very long setup. I wouldn't try to stretch it out another 3 feet and have guys casting it. So I generally will use.
Especially new. How's that got to be when you got new people on the boat and they're spinning around and throwing 60?
I was throwing the double that day we fished last week, but I was just kind of playing with it. But I really kind of leaned to just one setup.
All right, so let's do this as best we can. So I'm going to break it down and just kind of follow along, everyone with me. You already know what you're doing, obviously. Okay, so you just got your typical bobber stop. Okay, we'll go on first. You've got your bead that was going to be your stopper, a big corky, which is everybody's thing to do so that you can have that little bit more contrast so you can see it, right?
Yeah, if that corky's not laying on top of the bobber, then something's wrong.
It's all cattywampus. Yep. Okay, so it's a great indicator as well. Lots of different floats. Do you like these clear floats, Bomac clear floats, whatever it is?
I do really like them. They fall fast, and they're very durable, too.
Along with that, the shape of them, more of a bullet, it casts a lot easier. Just throwing that out there. Some people don't think that matters. Nothing in between that and a small, looks like a half-ounce egg sinker.
Half-ounce egg sinker.
To another little bead. Okay, it looks like a 6 mil, maybe a 4 mil. To a small swivel.
Size 5, yep.
Okay, so that was my next question. Do you get specific with the swivel sizes?
Not up there.
Okay, not
down
up here.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just keep moving down. So
that's the meat and potatoes there. Like that, the fish aren't. If they're looking at that, then something's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all cattywampus.
You don't need to worry about that.
Okay, so basically, this is nothing more than your typical bobber and bait setup, bobber and jig setup, slider setup. There ain't nothing fancy here. It's from here, from this swivel. Sorry, I don't want to try to. I just pulled on it. That would not be good. From here, though, you've got your leader. Okay, I'm putting it in air quotes. Leader to another swivel, but in between there, you've got a larger split shot, which I'm assuming is what he's calling a shot pattern, right? Now, when you're saying shot pattern, is that the gap between each one of these?
That's just how you're going to utilize split shots in that part of the rig. Okay. And depending on like the water flows and like the type of water or the type of bait you're fishing, whether it's a little heavier bait or a little subtle like worm like this, you're going to want to. There's a lot of nuances like between that sliding swivel, or excuse me, that sliding weight or the sliding bobber and that bait, because it's all gonna. That's where you're gonna have to adjust a lot of stuff here to effectively fish this.
Okay, so as long as everybody's paying attention and following along, though, does this ever change for you? Your distance for this?
It does change. So if you get into like clearer water, you get in situations where the pressure's on and you can tell like the fish are there. You know there's fish there, but they're just not being very reactive. Sometimes you got to stealth it up.
Gotcha. And that would be by lengthening it?
Lengthening it and going to a lighter leader. Right now, with the way the water conditions I was fishing the last few days, I was only utilizing about a 4-foot bumper there, and I was using 17-pound test between the two.
That was my next question. Is it a fluoro or?
It's a fluoro because fluoro sinks, and I think anything
relatively invisible.
Relatively invisible. It sinks, and then also too with even though it's only a 4-foot piece of line there, like there's.
But 17-pound, durable as heck. I mean, you ain't breaking that.
No.
And then you've got from the swivel to your hook, 18, 20 inches.
Yeah. Yeah. So my last split shot, whatever it's going to be, whatever size it's going to be for whatever, I'm always going to just button it up against this little tiny swivel here.
Sure,
actually,
so it does not move around.
I do have a larger size 5 there, but I can tell you, like when we went back to did our little gig in PA, and those guys have to fish some very, very spooky fish, very, very spooky conditions. As you get down from that sliding weight, or excuse me, that sliding bobber into the setup, stealthing up some of this gear is imperative. Like you won't catch them. And so I've got a little larger split shot here and a little larger swivel here because just the conditions are allowing me to kind of get away with it. But as things start to drop and maybe into the next week, you're going to want to start adding a little more stealth to this setup.
It's a really cool setup. And like I said at the beginning of this, I'm not a fan. Now after talking with Cameron a little bit, I've already got 2 rod and reel combos I'm going to set up this way. One for a clear setup and one for a higher setup. I got to cut away. Don't go anywhere, okay? We'll be back in just a minute with Cameron Black to wrap things up. Don't go anywhere, everyone.